Yo guys, what is that, Mr. King? So I am back with another video, my last video of the day. I know, I'm sorry. I was doing like usually 3 or 4, but 3 is usually fine. So this is the dumbest mistake of all time in the world, and hope you guys like my intro, because that's the first time I actually done an intro, and that is cool. So let's check out this, shall we?
Ronald Wayne was one of 3 co-founders for Apple back in 1976.
Oh wow,
yes,
Apple.
That Apple.
Yeah, no, I know I talk about Apple.
Wozniak were 21
yeah,
and 25 at the time. So Mr. Wayne, who was in his 40s, would act as the adult supervision for the group. He would be in charge of contracts, agreements, manuals, and even drew Apple's first logo. But after only about 2 weeks, Ronald backed out of the deal and sold his part of the company back for $2,300. He was afraid of the boy's inexperience and lack of business savvy. He knew that if things were to go bad for Apple, that he too would be liable and hounded by creditors. Of course, we all know that Apple sales skyrocketed in the coming years and is now worth about $700 billion.
Holy
shit. If he still had 10% stake in the company, Wayne would be one of the world's richest people. Now 81, he sells stamps and rare coins out of his home to supplement his monthly Social Security check. Somebody forgot to put the correct cap back on the gas valve and caused a deadly explosion. Piper Alpha was once Britain's largest oil rig, producing 30,000 barrels of crude a day. Due to a lack of communication between the shift change, some staff members were not aware that one of the pipes was sealed with a temporary cap after a safety check. Gas leaked out and ignited the entire facility. What is now known as the Piper Alpha disaster. 167 workers lost their lives. It is considered the world's deadliest oil rig accident. The fire raged on for 3 weeks until it was finally able to be subdued. The cleanup cost and monies awarded to the victims' families racked up to $3.4 billion.
Yes, oh my gosh.
In 2005, a Japanese brokerage firm made a typo on a stock trade that caused havoc on the Nikkei index, which is a form of the stock market.
Of course, guys. You guys all know.
A division of Japan's second-largest
Jenny, I'm not being offensive,
$225 million in one day because of a typing error.
Instead of
selling one share of a recruiting company's stock for 610,000 yen, which is roughly $5,000 American, the firm sold 610,000 shares of the company for 1 yen apiece. That's less than a penny each. Even after trying to cancel the order 3 times, the Tokyo Stock Exchange adhered to their strict policy of not allowing cancellations after transactions are finalized. The trade pretty much wiped out all of the company's profit from the previous year. Since the incident occurred, safety measures have been put in place to help prevent fumbling fingers from making this mistake again. In mid-2014, French railway operator SNCF ordered 2,000 new trains for their railway system. Amazingly, someone forgot to double-check the measurements, so they received trains that were too big for the stations. SNCF spent $68 million on reconstructing 1,300 platforms so that the new trains could fit on the track.
Holy crap, a lot of money, I know. I mean, especially the oil, wow.
30 years. But they overlooked
oh my God, it's too close.
Stations were built more than 50 years ago.
Too close.
Slimmer. The width of the trains were just inches too long on both sides, which of course would cause the trains to get stuck at some of the stations. It was also discovered that at one point in the track, 2 opposing trains could have collided with each other due to their size.
Too close.
A Yellow Pages misprint in 1988 put a woman out of business. Gloria Quinnen was the owner and sole proprietor of Banner Travel Agency. To help expand her growing business, she decided to put an ad in the phone book. The ad was supposed to read Exotic Travel Services. Instead, a typo made it read Erotic Travel Services, causing a flurry of inappropriate phone calls and a loss of 80% of her business. After the ad was placed, she would get obscene phone calls from people wanting to go on sexually themed vacations. One guy even asked her where he and his 4 naked lady friends should travel to. Quinnen successfully sued for $10 million, citing mental anguish and physical distress. In the fall of 2003, a lost hunter intentionally started a large fire near San Diego County Estates. The flames were too much for him to handle and quickly raged out of control. When the man was rescued, he admitted that he started the fire as a signal for help. The fire spread and became the largest recorded fire in California's history. The disaster now known as the Cedar Fire, destroyed close to 300,000 acres, over 2,300 homes,
people.
15 people over a 5-week period. Most of the people who died were unaware of the impending danger. Some of the victims were killed in their cars while trying to escape the blaze. In one of the homes, the charred bodies of 3 young ladies were found huddled in a bathtub. The hunter, Sergio Martinez, was only sentenced to 6 months in a minimum security prison and only ordered to pay $9,000.
Good for you. He should be, oh my gosh, what he was doing.
In Siest, Denmark,
what he was doing.
At a fireworks factory accidentally dropped a small box of fireworks. As it mistakenly slipped from his hands and hit the ground,
this is like the dumbest.
Drop ignited the contents inside of the box and caused a fire. Firefighters rushed to the scene and thought that they were only dealing with a small container fire, but they were sorely mistaken as fireworks started streaming from the facility. The firemen had to flee the site because the flames couldn't be contained. The factory's entire supply of fireworks ignited, causing a massive explosion. 1 firefighter died, 17 people were injured, and over 500 people were left homeless.
Dumbest, that's the guy who died in the fire and the oil leak. What you guys were thinking?
One small firecracker cost $100 in damage.
This is the most dumbest all the time.
The Pepcon plant, located in Henderson, Nevada, was a plant that was in charge of producing
government? Yeah, America's screwed again because people are so dumb.
Fire broke loose because of a couple of careless welders. A spark landed on a stash of plastic 55-gallon drums housing the explosive components. The chemicals were supposed to be stored in high-grade aluminum containers, but at the time, the company had an overstock of components. So instead of ordering more they decided to store them in flammable polypropylene.
Oh my gosh.
Explosions killed 2 people, injured 372 others, and caused an estimated $100 million of damage. The 2 men that were killed in the disaster were both handicapped individuals, unable to escape the explosions.
I'm not saying you guys, but the people who worked,
in 1992, the Mexican city of Guadalajara was rocked with
underground
gasoline explosions. The incident killed 252 people and left 15,000 others homeless. Damages amassed to over $750 million.
Oh my God, people!
Streets in a
you got to drugs
demolished by the blast, leaving 20-foot-deep trenches all over the city.
The definitely what we're watching. What else? The fire. Were mistakes and dumbass.
Still gasoline pipeline. The underground humidity caused these materials to create an electrolytic reaction that eventually caused the gasoline pipe to corrode. It created a hole in the pipeline that permitted gasoline to leak into the ground and into the city's main sewer system. People complained to the city's officials that their toilets and sinks smelled funny. 2 days later, the underground explosions began. In 1998, NASA scientists lost contact with a $330 million satellite because they
I've never seen NASA.
The Mars climate Mars and study the
Rewind, I heard of it.
The planet. NASA hired a subcontractor, Lockheed Martin, to help build the orbiter. Lockheed used the English measurements of pounds instead of the metric units of newtons, and NASA didn't know. The spacecraft floating around Mars mistakenly went into orbital insertion due to a ground-based computer software sending the wrong measurements. This miscalculation caused the satellite to fly straight down into Mars'
orbit. What do you guys say? What's the worst, dumbest mistake ever? Thank you, Tough Granite. Alright. Now we all saw what mistakes in the world, the dumbest. The fire, wow, I couldn't even explain this video because if you guys see it, I'm not talking too much, I just explaining why people, I hope they quit, they're probably like honestly, they're fired and I can't even talk. So, hope you guys enjoyed that video, and make sure you give a huge like, subscribe, and I hope you guys like my intro, because that's my coolest intro I ever done my first time. So, peace.